Hello, everyone. Most people follow the crowd, but the crowd is rarely right. This is an uncomfortable truth that history has proven time and time again. From the way society operates to the decisions individuals make, the majority often moves in a direction that feels safe, familiar, and accepted. But the problem is, safety and familiarity do not lead to extraordinary success. If you trace the steps of history's greatest visionaries, pioneers, and leaders, you'll find that their paths were never walked by the majority. They stepped away from the crowd, often facing doubt, ridicule, and resistance, yet it was precisely their willingness to be different that set them apart. Think about it. The crowd follows trends, but trends fade. The crowd follows what is popular, not what is right. The crowd values comfort over growth. And because of this, the crowd rarely produces individuals who truly change the world. The reason is simple. Following the majority often means avoiding risk, avoiding discomfort, and avoiding responsibility for one's own path. It means waiting for someone else to take the first step, to give permission, to validate choices. But by the time the majority catches up, the real opportunity is gone. History is filled with examples of this pattern. The greatest breakthroughs in science, business, and art did not come from those who followed conventional wisdom. When the Wright brothers pursued flight, the majority laughed at them. When Henry Ford envisioned the automobile for the masses, the crowd insisted that horses were the only reliable form of transport. When innovators like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk disrupted industries, the majority initially dismissed them as unrealistic dreamers. Yet in every case, those who refused to follow the crowd ended up defining the future. This principle applies to every area of life. In business, the crowd plays it safe, settling for stable jobs and predictable routines. They trade their time for a paycheck, rarely questioning if there's a better way. The ones who break free from the cycle are those who take risks, start businesses, invest in their skills, and refuse to accept the status quo. They understand that following the crowd leads to mediocrity, while forging their own path creates limitless potential. In personal development, the crowd seeks comfort. They avoid discomfort even when it's necessary for growth. They avoid failure even when it's the key to success. They settle for what's easy even when it leads to regret. But the people who transform their lives are the ones who embrace struggle, who are willing to be uncomfortable, who push beyond their limits. They recognize that the pain of discipline is far better than the pain of regret. The same is true in decision-making. The crowd often follows emotions, reacting impulsively rather than thinking critically. The crowd believes what is most widely accepted without questioning if it is true. The crowd chooses what feels good in the moment, even if it leads to long-term consequences. But those who think independently do not let the crowd dictate their choices. They ask questions, they analyze deeply, they choose logic over impulse. They are not swayed by public opinion, but by principles and vision. Even in relationships, the crowd is often wrong. Most people seek approval, validation, and acceptance at the cost of authenticity. They conform to fit in, even when it means losing their true identity. They surround themselves with people who keep them comfortable rather than people who challenge them to grow. But those who break away from the crowd choose their company wisely. They are not afraid to walk alone if necessary. They do not let the fear of being different force them into relationships that do not serve their purpose. The truth is, if you do what the crowd does, you will get the crowd get. And most of the time, that is a life of unfulfilled potential, of regret, of missed opportunities. The people who achieve greatness are those who are willing to end alone, to move in the opposite direction, to take risks when others hesitate. They do not need approval to act. They do not wait for permission to start. They do not fear being misunderstood because they understand that true success requires a level of boldness that the majority is unwilling to embrace. The question is, will you choose the easy path of the crowd or will you choose the difficult road of those who make a real impact? Will you settle for what is safe or will you pursue what is meaningful? Will you live a life dictated by the expectations of others, or will you carve out your own path, even if it means standing alone? The crowd will always be there, moving in circles, chasing what is temporary, avoiding what is hard. But those who step away from the crowd The ones who think differently, act boldly, and persist when others quit are the ones who change their lives and, ultimately, change the world. The secret to success is often hidden in what most people avoid. This is a truth that few recognize, yet it holds the key to everything people desire: growth, achievement, and fulfillment. The reason most people never reach their full potential is not because they lack talent or intelligence, but because they instinctively shy away from the very things that could transform their lives. Fear of failure, discomfort, discipline, and uncertainty keep them trapped in mediocrity. They look for shortcuts, easy wins, and quick results, never realizing that the real rewards are buried beneath the struggles they refuse to face. Most people avoid failure, seeing it as something to be feared rather than embraced. They believe mistakes define them, so they do everything in their power to avoid taking risks. But failure is not the enemy of success. It is the path to it. Every great innovator, entrepreneur, and leader has faced repeated failures before reaching their breakthrough. The reason they succeeded was not because they were lucky or more gifted than others, but because they had the courage to fail, learn, and keep moving forward. The truth is, the people who achieve the most in life are the ones who are willing to fail the most. While others avoid setbacks, they embrace them, understanding that every failure is a lesson leading them closer to success. Discomfort is another thing most people avoid. They crave ease and convenience, seeking paths that require the least effort. But growth never happens in comfort. The most successful individuals deliberately put themselves in situations that stretch their limits. They push through exhaustion when others stop. They train harder, work longer, and commit to habits that most people are unwilling to maintain. They do hard things when they tell their team to do hard things. Here's an example. Success is not built on moments of motivation. It is built in the days when you don't feel like showing up but do it anyway. While the majority seek pleasure, the successful choose discipline. They understand that the pain of sacrifice is temporary, but the rewards of persistence last a lifetime. Most people avoid the unknown. They fear uncertainty and resist stepping into unfamiliar territory. But everything extraordinary exists outside of what is known. The greatest opportunities, the biggest breakthroughs, and the most profound personal transformations happen when people step beyond their comfort zones into the unpredictable. The ones who make a lasting impact are those who take action, even when they don't have all the answers. They trust the process, take calculated risks, and adapt as they go. While others wait for the perfect moment, they create their own opportunities. Success is not given to those who play it safe. It belongs to those who dare to step into the unknown. Most people avoid responsibility. They blame circumstances, other people, and external factors for their lack of progress. But the truth is, nothing changes until you take full responsibility for where you are and where you want to go. The most successful people never wait for permission or rely on excuses. They own their choices, their actions, and their results. They don't wait for the economy, their boss, or their environment to change. They change themselves. But the moment you stop waiting for someone else to fix your life and start taking responsibility for your growth is the moment your life begins to transform. Most people avoid hard work. They look for the quickest way to get what they want, avoiding the effort required to master their craft, build a strong foundation, and create something meaningful. But the truth is, lasting success is never built on shortcuts. The most accomplished individuals in any field have spent years, often decades, perfecting their skills. They have put in the hours when no one was watching, doing the work that most people ignore. The difference between those who succeed and those who do not is not talent. It is the willingness to do what is difficult, to stay committed when others quit, and to work when there is no immediate reward in sight. Most people avoid standing out. They fear judgment, rejection, and criticism. They conform to fit in, even when it means suppressing their own potential. But success is never found in blending in. It is found in having the courage to be different. The greatest minds in history were not people who followed the crowd. They were people who challenged it. They spoke up when others remained silent, pursued ideas that others dismissed, and refused to shrink themselves to make others comfortable. The world does not remember those who played it safe. It remembers those who had the courage to be bold, to think differently, and to stay true to their vision, even when no one else believed in it. The things most people avoid Failure, discomfort, uncertainty, responsibility, hard work, and standing out are the very things that create success. The majority spend their lives running from these challenges, never realizing that by facing them, they would unlock everything they have ever wanted. The question is, are you willing to do what most people won't? Because if you are, you will achieve what most people never will. Comfort zones create mediocrity. Only the bold rewrite history. This truth is as old as time, yet most people spend their entire lives avoiding it. They settle into routines that feel safe, predictable, and familiar, mistaking comfort for success. But nothing extraordinary has ever come from staying in the same place. Every great leader, visionary, and innovator who changed the course of history did so by stepping beyond what was comfortable and daring to walk where no one else had walked before. They understood that the greatest enemy of progress is not failure, but the unwillingness to challenge limits, take risks, and embrace the unknown. Mediocrity is not a lack of talent or intelligence. It is the result of refusing to push beyond what feels easy. The majority live their lives avoiding difficulty, choosing paths that require the least effort. They settle for jobs they do not love, relationships that do not fulfill them, and routines that do not challenge them. They tell themselves they are content when, in reality, they are simply afraid of failure, afraid of rejection, afraid of what lies beyond the walls of their comfort zones. But comfort does not create greatness. It dulls ambition, kills creativity, and keeps people trapped in an endless cycle of unrealized potential. History remembers the bold, not the cautious, the men and women who dared to challenge the status quo, to dream bigger, to take risks when others hesitated. These are the people who shaped the world. The Wright brothers defied gravity when the world believed flight was impossible. Thomas Edison endured thousands of failed attempts before inventing the light bulb. Nelson Mandela spent decades in prison for his vision of a free nation. None of them chose comfort. They chose to endure hardships that most people would have avoided, and because of that choice, they left behind legacies that continue to inspire generations. Success in any field, business, art, science, leadership, belongs to those who refuse to let fear dictate their actions. The most successful entrepreneurs are not necessarily the smartest or the most skilled. They are simply the ones who take risks when others hesitate. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success, but a necessary step toward it. While the majority wait for the perfect opportunity, the bold create their own opportunities. And they stepped forward despite uncertainty, knowing that every great achievement begins with a decision to act, even when the outcome is unknown. Growth only happens outside of what is comfortable, physically, mentally, emotionally. Real transformation occurs when the body and mind are pushed beyond their usual limits. Athletes do not become champions by training within their comfort zones. They push past exhaustion, endure pain, and embrace challenges that others avoid. The same principle applies to life. Those who seek comfort over challenge remain stagnant, while those who push themselves beyond their limits discover abilities they never knew they had. Fear of discomfort keeps people small. It makes them settle for jobs they do not love because they are afraid of the uncertainty of chasing their true calling. It makes them hold back their ideas because they fear criticism. It keeps them stuck in routines that no longer serve them because change is too uncomfortable. But nothing is more dangerous than a life lived in fear of what lies beyond the familiar. Those who refuse to take risks never discover what they are truly capable of. They live with regret, haunted by the realization that they traded their potential for the illusion of security. The bold understand that discomfort is the price of greatness. They embrace uncertainty, knowing that every challenge is an opportunity to grow. They welcome failure, knowing that each setback brings them closer to success. They are willing to be misunderstood, to stand alone if necessary, to fight for their vision even when no one else believes in it. And because of this, they rise above the rest. And the choice is simple: live comfortably and remain average, or step into the unknown and achieve what most people never will. The world will always try to pull you toward what is easy, safe, and familiar. It will tell you to be realistic, to play it safe, to avoid risk. But history does not remember those who played it safe. It remembers those who had the courage to be different, to take action despite their fears, and to refuse to settle for anything less than their full potential. Comfort zones create mediocrity, but only the bold rewrite history. If you're doing what everyone else is doing, you're not leading, you're following. This is a reality that many fail to recognize. The world is filled with people who move with the crowd, who follow trends, who seek validation by doing what is already accepted. They conform because it feels safe. They follow because it is easier than thinking for themselves. But history does not remember the ones who fit in. It remembers the ones who stood out. Those who dared to be different, who rejected the status quo, who thought for themselves. These are the true leaders, the visionaries, the ones who change the world. Most people follow the crowd because it provides a sense of security. When you do what everyone else is doing, there is little risk of being judged, criticized, or questioned. It feels comfortable to blend in, to take the well-worn path, to avoid standing alone. But comfort is not the path to greatness. The world's most successful individuals were never followers. They were people who questioned, who challenged, who disrupted. They were the ones who refused to accept what others accepted, who looked at the world and saw not what was, but what could be. Leadership is not about imitation. It is about vision. A true leader does not wait to see what others are doing before making a move. A leader sets the course, even if no one else sees the destination. They are willing to be first, to take risks, to face uncertainty. They're not afraid of standing alone because they understand that the greatest achievements in history were accomplished by those who had the courage to walk a different path. Anything neater, Mikhail? Following the crowd is the quickest way to mediocrity. When you do what everyone else does, you get what everyone else gets, but the majority are not living extraordinary lives. The majority are settling. They accept limits. They make excuses. They stay within the boundaries that society has placed around them. If you follow them, you are accepting the same limitations. You are agreeing to a life of average results, of predictable outcomes, of unfulfilled potential. The greatest breakthroughs in history came from those who refused to follow. Every invention, every revolution, every advancement happened because someone had the courage to break away from the norm. The world believed flight was impossible until the Wright brothers proved otherwise. People thought the earth was flat until explorers defied common belief. Every innovation in technology, business, and society came from someone who refused to accept what was and instead pursued what could be. Being different is not easy. The world resists change. When you decide to think differently, to act differently, to pursue a vision that others do not understand, you will face opposition. People will question you. They will doubt you. They will tell you that you are wrong, that you are wasting your time, that you should just do what everyone else is doing. This is the price of leadership. The bold must be willing to stand in the face of criticism, to trust their vision even when no one else does, to keep moving forward despite resistance. Many people have great ideas, but never act on them because they fear what others will say. They wait for approval, for permission, for reassurance that they are on the right path. But leadership is about trusting yourself even when no one else does. It is about believing in your vision even when the world calls you crazy. The greatest minds in history were once ridiculed, doubted, and dismissed. But they pressed on, and because they did, the world changed. The difference between those who lead and those who follow is simple. Leaders dare to think for themselves. They do not accept limits just because others do. They do not wait for permission to chase their dreams. They do not seek validation before taking action. They understand that to achieve something extraordinary, they must be willing to do what others will not. The choice is yours. You can follow the crowd, take the safe route, and live a life that looks like everyone else's. Or you can step away, think for yourself, take risks, and create something that has never been done before. The world does not need more followers. It needs more leaders. People who are bold enough to challenge, to innovate, to inspire. If you are doing what everyone else is doing, you are not leading. You are following. And the ones who follow will never be the ones who change the world. Your greatest opportunities lie in the places most people are too afraid to go. This is a truth that separates the extraordinary from the ordinary, the leaders from the followers, the successful from the ones who never reach their full potential. The world is full of people who avoid difficulty, who shy away from risk, who refuse to step into the unknown. They cling to security, preferring to the comfort of familiarity over the uncertainty of growth. But the greatest rewards do not exist in the safe zones. They exist in the spaces where fear keeps most people away, in the challenges that seem too big to face, in the ideas that seem too bold to pursue. Opportunity is often disguised as difficulty. Most people see obstacles as barriers, but those who succeed see them as invitations. Every major breakthrough, every revolution, every great success story began in a place where most people hesitated to go. The first person to step into an unknown territory, the first one to challenge an accepted belief, the first one to take a risk when everyone else held back. These are the people who rewrite history. The ones who dare to explore the places others fear are the ones who find the treasures hidden there. Fear controls the masses. It keeps them trapped in jobs they do not love, in relationships that do not fulfill them, in lives that do not challenge them. They tell themselves it is better to stay safe than to risk failure, but failure is not the real enemy, stagnation is. Playing it safe might keep you from experiencing loss, but it also keeps you from experiencing true success. The ones who win are those who refuse to let fear dictate their actions. They step into uncertainty, knowing that the biggest rewards come from taking the biggest risks. Every industry, every field, every aspect of life has areas that most people avoid. In business, the most profitable opportunities are often the ones others overlook because they seem too difficult or too uncertain. In personal growth, the biggest transformations come from facing fears that others run from. In leadership, the greatest impact is made by those who stand where others refuse to stand. The easy path is crowded, but the path of greatness is often empty, not because it lacks value, but because most people are too afraid to walk it. The most valuable lessons in life come from stepping into discomfort. Those who avoid difficulty never develop the resilience needed for true success. The greatest athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, and innovators did not get to where they are by staying in comfortable spaces. They got there by pushing past fear, by stepping into unfamiliar territory, by embracing challenges that others avoided. They understood that the unknown is not a place to fear, it is a place to conquer. Many people dream of success, but few are willing to pursue it where it truly exists. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, the perfect certainty, but perfection never comes. The opportunities that lead to real success never come wrapped in guarantees. They come disguised as risks, as challenges, as places that most people would rather avoid. Those who hesitate, who wait, who let fear make their decisions, are left watching as the bold move forward and claim the rewards. The road to greatness is not a smooth one. It is filled with uncertainty, failure, and moments of doubt. But it is also filled with lessons, growth, and opportunities that cannot be found anywhere else. Those who refuse to step into this road never experience the fullness of what life has to offer. They live cautiously, never realizing that the very things they fear are the things that would have unlocked their greatest potential. End quote. A conversation with a daughter. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who played it safe. They are the ones who ventured into the places that others were too afraid to go. They took the job that others thought was too risky. They started the business that others said would fail. They moved to the city that others were afraid of. They pursued dreams that others considered impossible. And because they did, they found success in places that most people never even dared to look. The world does not reward those who stay within the boundaries of comfort. It rewards those who break through them. Every great opportunity is surrounded by fear, uncertainty, and challenge. But that is exactly why it is an opportunity, because most people will never have the courage to take it. The question is, will you? Will you step into the places that others avoid? Will you embrace the unknown, take the risk, and push past the fear? Your greatest opportunities are waiting, but they will not come to you. You must go to them. Extraordinary success is never found in ordinary actions. This is a truth that most people overlook because it is easier to believe that following the same routines, making the same choices, and thinking the same way as everyone else will somehow lead to exceptional outcomes. But the reality is, greatness does not come from the ordinary. It is not born from repetition, comfort, or blending in. It is the result of bold decisions, relentless effort, and a willingness to do what others will not. The path to extraordinary success is paved with extraordinary actions, actions that require courage, discipline, and an unshakable commitment to rise above mediocrity. Most people live by the rules of the majority. They follow trends, they seek approval, and they choose the safe and familiar over the risky and unknown. They work the same jobs, adopt the same habits, and settle for the same predictable lives as everyone else around them. But if ordinary actions produced extraordinary results, then everyone would be wildly successful. The truth is, the majority will never experience exceptional success because they are unwilling to do what it takes to break free from the cycle of mediocrity. Success demands sacrifice. It requires stepping outside of comfort zones, questioning what is considered normal, and embracing challenges that others avoid. It is found in the extra hours put in when others have stopped, in the relentless pursuit of mastery when others are satisfied with being average, in the ability to stay focused when distractions are everywhere. It is found in doing more, thinking differently, and pushing beyond limits that most people accept. Those who achieve greatness do not live by the standards of the average. They create their own standards and refuse to settle for less. Extraordinary success is built on extraordinary discipline. It is not about luck or talent alone. It is about consistent effort, about showing up every single day, about making choices that align with long-term goals rather than short-term comfort. It means saying no to distractions, cutting out excuses, and holding yourself accountable even when no one else is watching. Most people give up when things get difficult, but the ones who succeed push forward because they understand that the best rewards lie beyond the struggle. Innovation and breakthrough thinking are essential to extraordinary success. Those who achieve it do not simply follow the path laid out by others, they create their own path. They challenge existing beliefs, they ask questions no one else is asking, and they are willing to take risks that others fear. They are not afraid of failure because they know that every setback is a lesson, every obstacle is an opportunity, and every rejection is a stepping stone to something greater. While the majority seek comfort, those who rise to the top embrace discomfort. Growth does not happen in easy places. It happens in moments of struggle, in situations that test resilience, in experiences that force people to evolve. The willingness to endure hardship, to take the hard road instead of the easy one, to embrace failure as part of the process, this is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. The best athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, and innovators did not get to where they are by doing what was easy. They got there by doing what was necessary, even when it was difficult. Most people stop at good enough. They achieve a certain level of success and become satisfied, thinking they have done enough. But those who reach the highest levels never settle. They continue to push, to improve, to expand their vision. They understand that extraordinary success is not a destination, it is a continuous journey. The moment they achieve one goal, they set their sights on the next. And they do not rest on past accomplishments because they know that greatness is built on the ability to keep moving forward. The world rewards those who dare to be different. The biggest opportunities, the greatest rewards, and the most fulfilling successes are reserved for those who are willing to step outside of what is expected. They are for those who refuse to accept limits, who challenge the norm, and who pursue excellence when others settle for average. The ordinary path leads to ordinary results, but the extraordinary path leads to a life that is truly remarkable. Every great achievement in history was the result of someone who refused to follow the crowd, who refused to accept mediocrity, who refused to settle for less than what they were capable of. The question is, are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to think bigger, work harder, and push beyond the ordinary? Extraordinary success is not reserved for a select few. It is available to anyone who is willing to take extraordinary action. The choice is yours. Will you settle or will you rise? Extraordinary success is not found in ordinary actions. It belongs to those who are willing to step beyond comfort, challenge the norm, and push themselves where others refuse to go. The world does not reward those who do what is easy. It rewards those who commit to excellence, embrace discomfort, and refuse to settle for mediocrity. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, and every legacy was built by someone who chose to go further, work harder, and think differently. Success is not an accident. It is a choice, a commitment, and a relentless pursuit of something greater. The question is simple. Will you be among the many who settle or the few who rise? The opportunity is yours, but only if you dare to take it. Do what others won't, and you will achieve what others never will. Thank you for your time, and may you always choose the extraordinary path.